Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. So I am visiting family and friends for the holiday and have no time to film but lots of time to read. So I found a quiet trailhead and I just got back from a little bit of snowshoeing, so I'm in my coat and gear, but I figured this would be a perfect time to review some of the books that I have been reading over my holiday time off. So today I'm going to be reviewing the book An Eye for Fractals, a graphic and photographic essay by Michael McGuire. So I'm just going to show the interior page just because this was something I ordered in between or from a different library. So they do that thing where they stick all your personal information on a tab on the front so they can return it to the proper library and they know who's ordering the book, but I don't want to put all my personal information on the internet. So this is the book, An Eye for Fractals, and again, a graphic and photographic essay by Michael McGuire. So this book seemed really interesting. The first thing that I was kind of nervous about when reading this book was the age. So the copyright of this book is 1991, and I was a little nervous because I was like, well, maybe some of it's going to be out of date, maybe some of this isn't going to be very relevant, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the style of it. I was just a little hesitant, and the first thing that I can say is that the age of the book has no bearing to my enjoyment of the book. I thought this book was very well done, very enjoyable, very entry level, perfect for people wanting to get their foot in the door. So as the title of the book indicates, An Eye for Fractals, this book is about fractals. But what the author has done is he has taken a lot of photographs. He definitely has more of a photographic bent, so he has quite a number of these photographs throughout the book, and he puts them in between his discussion on fractals. So fractals, so he has his discussions in here, his mathematic discussions, and then he kind of pairs them with photographs from the natural world that he finds interesting or that would correlate really well with the topics at hand. I think, so here's an example. We'll pull this one up too. I think that this book is perfect because fractals, I feel like, they're very pretty to look at, so in the sense that anyone can appreciate them whether or not they have a math background or not, and that's something that the author touches on, is these fractals or fractal-like imagery has been used in art for a number of years, seeming to indicate that humans kind of have an eye for this thing. It's also something that's found frequently throughout nature, which is how he connects it in with these photographs. So it's something that anyone can understand, but the math behind it can tend to lean a little bit more complicated, and people who don't have a math background or kind of have a little bit of that fear of math maybe don't want to see something like a book that's just filled with things that they don't understand, and it can seem kind of overwhelming. So this book, I feel like, is perfect for someone who has very little math background. I don't think you need anything beyond what you covered in high school, and you probably don't need to remember most of that. He breaks it down very simply, and he combines it with a lot of illustrations and pictures and a lot of photography. I think this is great for people who might be more artistic minded as well. So people who maybe they don't like the hard sciences, maybe they don't like math, or maybe they do like math, but they also enjoy and appreciate photography. But people who maybe appreciate art, but haven't really done a lot on the math side, they're not really into that. This would be a perfect merging point of these two things, and I think people who are really into art would find a lot to appreciate in fractals, and that's why I think this book kind of melds those two topics together very well. A lot of interesting stuff. I just spent a long time looking at all the drawings and illustrations and pictures in this book, and that's really the skill. The author, I believe all the pictures are the author's with the exception of one, and yeah, just a really enjoyable book, really well done. I'm not really a book snob, but I did feel like I liked the feel of the paper. It just felt really nice, and I feel like the age, it's held up well with age. So something from 1991, you think about how long ago 1991 is, the current year 2022 turning into 2023. It has the possibility of aging poorly, or not poorly. Things that are that old are going to age. It's inevitable. It's over 30 years old at this point, and information changes. Someone wrote a book on current affairs in 1991. Some of that information might be out of date. The book might be worth reading, but it might age a little bit, and that's something that I think is unavoidable with most works, is they're going to age, and you're just going to have to accept that. This book, I feel like, has aged very well. The one area that I think that more modern fractal books will touch on a lot more, as opposed to this book from 1991, is the aspect of computer generated or the use of computers in generating fractals. I feel like that has obviously advanced quite a bit from 1991 is definitely touched on in this book, and they talk about how easier it is to do things with computers, and you almost want to be like, oh, wouldn't you want to know how much we can do now 30 years in the future from when this book was written? But that's the only part that maybe feels a little bit dated, but I feel like it was written in such a way, and this is a testament to the author's skill, that it doesn't feel dated. So he almost was like aware, or it feels like he's a little bit aware that things can advance. The book, as mentioned, just like there is text, there's quite a bit of text, but it's never overwhelming, and it's interspersed with plenty of pictures and plenty of photographs. I think it's, like I said, a perfect melding of the art world and the math world that can learn a lot from each other. So I feel like that's a really good connection. And I feel like this would be a really, really good book. Again, despite being a little older, I feel like this would be a perfect gift for anyone who appreciates photography, appreciates math. I feel like you don't have to have a lot of skill in either one of those subjects to appreciate this book. It's just a really well done book, and I really appreciate it. I think this would get a 4.5 star from me. I really recommend it. I think anyone who has interest in those two fields would enjoy it. I think there's a lot to be learned, and it's definitely perfect for someone who's more entry level and doesn't want to be intimidated by a lot of formulas or proofs or things that may seem intimidating without a lot of math experience. So yeah, 4.5 stars. I highly recommend it. I hope you check this book out and enjoy it as much as I did. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.